Escape the Pizzaplex just came out, and I just want to say I'm right about everything all the time, and you should have believed me. Well, almost. Seriously though, not only is this book chock full of lore about the Pizzaplex and Gregory and Cassie and what's going on before Security Breach, it nearly confirms a lot of what I've been theorizing about that time period. So what is this book even about? Well, Slices, put on your aprons and let's bake ourselves a theory. Quick disclaimer before we get into it, the book came out 3 days ago, so please, go out and get the book yourself. It's very, very good. I'm going to be going deep into spoilers for this book for this video, and all theory videos on this book moving forward. But I will say, because of the nature of a choose-your-own-adventure book and the quality and depth of the writing itself, it's still worth it to go and get and read the book, even if you watch this video first. Like, yes, I'm going to spoil the book, but there's so many different endings and the way you get them is varied, it's not like I'm giving you a walkthrough. So, one, if you want to read the book before watching these videos to fully avoid spoilers, I get it. But even if you watch this video first, please do go out and get the book and read it. It's very good. If I had to rank it among the other interactive novels, I'd probably say The Week Before is still my favorite, but this is a close second. Now, without any further ado, what is Escape the Pizzaplex? What happens in this book? The book follows Cassie and Gregory, and what they get up to when the two of them hide in the Pizzaplex until after closing and have the whole place to themselves after hours. The book takes place over 5 nights, in which Cassie endures scarier and deadlier pranks from Gregory, and pranks is in air quotes here. On the first night, while playing hide and seek with a manic and scary Freddy, she even thinks she's going to be killed by Glamrock Freddy. But at the last moment, Gregory pops out of his chest cavity and says that it was all a prank. On the second night, Gregory promises pranks are over, and instead he and Cassie play hide and seek with Monty. However, Monty is jittery and almost seems like something is wrong. His arms and head spasm at random times, there are electric shocks that jolt off him at random intervals. In some of the endings of this night, Monty does even kill you. If you're sufficiently far away and by yourself, Monty catches up to you so he can get you. But in other endings where Gregory's nearby, he swoops in and stops Monty, promising that it wasn't supposed to be like this. This isn't some kind of elaborate prank, but instead some programming he added to Monty went wrong, and he promises to work on it. The third night is where things really kick into gear. Cassie is just going to leave the Pizzaplex at the normal time. She's fed up with all of these quote-unquote pranks. But Gregory and Freddy ask her to stay. Freddy even essentially kidnaps her to make sure she stays overnight. They then explain to her that the Pizzaplex added a staff bot that Gregory and Freddy call the Reagent, which is essentially a staff bot with insect-like eyes fitted with a chemical tank on its back and 2 arms of spray nozzles. It was added to eliminate any biological material left in the Pizzaplex after hours. The fear is that Gregory and Cassie, to a computer, are biological material, so it might eliminate them. They have to find a way to stop it so they can continue safely hanging out after hours. Gregory and Freddy tell Cassie to wait in the kitchen while they go to fix it, but the reagent shows up in the kitchen anyway, and you have to avoid it to survive. Anytime the reagent gets too close and starts spraying its chemicals, Cassie feels immense throat and body pain and passes out almost immediately, giving us a game over. In fact, the only way to get out of this night alive is to hide long enough and secure enough that when we eventually get sprayed by the reagent, Roxy shows up at the last minute and we pass out. She rescues us and we wake up like 24 hours later the next night. Again, after the Pizzaplex is locked up for the night. Roxy tells you that Gregory and Freddy are still off trying to stop the reagent, but luckily, she's here to help Cassie survive and possibly escape. But as you go about your business, you find that Gregory and Freddy are arguing, and from a distance see Freddy kill Gregory, then go to hunt you. Eventually, Freddy catches up to you, and whether or not you find a way to defend yourself, right before they get Cassie, Gregory bursts out of Freddy's chest cavity and admits that it was, again, all a prank. This time, Roxy was in on it too, because Gregory told her that Cassie likes to be scared. Cassie runs off upset. Notably, on night 4, the reagent is still wandering about, and if it catches you, you do get a game over. The next day, Cassie is hiding in a supply closet all day, staying at the Pizzaplex, until eventually Roxy finds her and apologizes. They have a conversation, and Roxy explains that she doesn't know why she believed Gregory, to which Cassie tells her to scan her programming. When Roxy does, she finds that Gregory modified her programming, not only to prank Cassie last night, but he adjusted her programming to turn on Cassie again tonight, eventually attacking her. So Cassie and Roxy rush to a computer terminal to find it, and Cassie is able to locate and delete Gregory's programming. But now that the programming has been deleted, the monitor shows the reagent activating with a new target, specifically Cassie, even showing a picture of her face with a red X on it. You then have several options in front of you on how to encounter and surprise attack the reagent using Roxy, and it's where we get several endings to this story. But in one of these endings, you can actually find an executive access key off of the body of the reagent. The book then instructs you to start again from night 4 with this executive access keycard. If you do so, you're able to access the mysterious package in Monty's green room. Inside are his new claws, which we can instead give to Roxy. This not only gives you a new ending for night 4, where you eventually attack Freddy with Roxy, hurting Gregory a little bit, but on night 5, you can have Roxy attack the reagent directly instead of sneaking up on it. And when you do that, you're still successful, but this time when you leave the Pizzaplex, you get this ending. Then you step outside the Pizzaplex into the cool night air. A dark figure outside the entrance turns as you exit. It's Gregory. He gives you the biggest, most mischievous grin, then says, "So what game do you want to play tomorrow night?" Which implies that Gregory was the one behind the reagent this entire time. It was all just another quote-unquote prank. And that's the main story, but like I said, there's plenty of other avenues and endings you can get throughout the book, most of them resulting in Cassie dying. And there's a lot of lore I haven't touched on yet, but for today, I kind of want to focus on the main story and central piece of lore in this book, since this is the first video on the book. So what does the major story here mean? Well, first of all, I kind of have to defend this book a bit. Weeks before it actually came out, people were running all over Reddit and Twitter sharing not only spoilers of the story, but complaining that it was the most unexplainable, farthest from the canon book so far. And after reading the official book, I just have to say, what the hell were any of you talking about? This book? This is the most unbelievable book so far in the interactive novel series. Is that what we're saying here? The last book had the FNAF Avengers in it. The last book had an Ella/Circus Baby/Eleanor doll in the basement of the 1985 version of the pizzeria that tricked Oswald. The last book had Oswald put on rabbit ears, get his mind controlled by them, and then say the phrase, quote, "You feel very bunny." So you're telling me that this book is less believably connected to the lore than the last one because Gregory is too mean to Cassie in this book? Is that what we're talking about here? Because the main argument I've heard as to why this book is disconnected from the lore is that why would Cassie go back to save Gregory in ruin if he's been doing this to her for seemingly a long time? And look, part of me sees where that argument is coming from, but there is a perfectly rational explanation now that we can actually read the damn book. So what is all of this useful lore and evidence and the explanation for that question? Well, before we move on, can we just look me in the eyes? Can we please try to keep spoilers and complaints about the story of something until after it fucking comes out, please? If I have to see FNAF Twitter blow up about how some new entry is going to destroy the entire FNAF lore before it even comes out, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. Even Mark doesn't even want a piece of this. Luckily, I've got a backup. I'm gonna be brief and I'm gonna be real. You've got like less than 24 hours to get this plushie. It's already passed. We passed the goal. You know, it's almost at 300 plushies, and I can't thank you guys enough. I love it. I think you guys will love it. I'm just letting you know, it closes tomorrow at 3 p.m. EST. So if you haven't gotten one and you want one yet, you got to get it now. Thanks again for the support on it. I think the most important and central piece of lore of this book is it tells us what the purpose of Gregory serving under Glitchtrap was. So with books like GGY and evidence we find in the games, many people, myself included, believe that before Security Breach, Gregory was a servant to Glitchtrap, much like Vanessa is as Vanny. And in GGY, he goes by Dr. Rabbit. So I've been saying that Dr. Rabbit is to Gregory as Vanny is to Vanessa, before the events of Security Breach. But we never really got a good why. My thinking was that Dr. Rabbit was defense while Vanny was offense. Essentially, Vanny was the one hunting people down, collecting their remnant, and doing whatever Glitchtrap wanted them to do with it. Meanwhile, Dr. Rabbit was setting up defenses, the arcade cabinets that house the consciousness of Gregory and Vanessa, the MXES system that's been fully intertwined throughout the entire Pizzaplex, the programming that the animatronics protect Gregory and Vanessa. But this book not only defends part of that, but gives us an actual functional pivotal role for Gregory in this scheme. First of all, I have to point out that in this book multiple times, Gregory is able and stated to change the programming of the animatronics, something I've been saying that GGY tells us and that he probably did in-game before Security Breach several times. So I'm just gonna take the W on that one. But what this book tells us is not only what Gregory has been doing, but even explains the missing people we see on the newspaper article in the bad ending when you leave through the front doors. That being that Gregory is the manipulator and bait to capture people for remnant extraction. And this book is showing us his main method and why it didn't work on Cassie. This entire book, we are put in more and more dangerous situations by Gregory because of his pranks, and some of them kill us. But if he can stop it and help it at the last minute, he does, right as we think we're about to die. Then he explains it was all a prank or an accident and apologizes. But the one thing he never stops is the reagent. Something that, from the secret ending of this book, we know Gregory targeted on Cassie, and that when it catches Cassie, her lungs and face immediately start to burn and she passes out. The one time we survive this encounter is when Roxy appears just in time to take us away, and we wake up like a day later. Whatever this gas is, it might kill you, but it definitely knocks you out for at least a day. So what is going on here? I think this is Gregory's main method on capturing victims to have their remnant extracted. Now, whether you believe that's just to create a vessel for Glitchtrap to inhabit, or you believe in Remnantplex, that they're using the remnant to power the whole Pizzaplex, either way, we know there's a scooper in the basement, and someone at the Pizzaplex has been using it, and this is how they're getting their fuel. Let me set the scene for you with Cassie to better explain this. Cassie is a normal child who loves the Freddy Fazbear Pizzaplex, but one day, for unknown reasons, nobody shows up to her birthday party, and she is left all alone, not having any friends that she thought she did, until Roxy and eventually Gregory show up to her birthday party, making it her best birthday ever. And from then on, Cassie and Gregory become fast friends, especially because Gregory is able to help Cassie sneak into the Pizzaplex after hours, in unbelievable joy for someone their age, so they can have the whole place to themselves. It's the best playground someone could ask for, and every night they get up to hijinks and become incredibly close and trusted friends. The only thing Cassie doesn't like is occasionally Gregory will prank her, or at least one of his pranks, which usually involves scaring her and making her think she's about to die. But she knows, at the end of the day, it's just one of Gregory's pranks. He does this all the time and she'll be okay. Until one day, the reagent arrives. Gregory warns her that it's something the Pizzaplex has added, and it's legitimately dangerous, so she needs to watch out. Now, any other kid would be helpless in this situation. Any other kid who fully trusted Gregory at this point would listen when he says wait in the kitchen. They would wait in the kitchen, the reagent would arrive in the kitchen, and they would be knocked unconscious by this gas. And now Gregory has an unconscious victim who he can bring alive to the scooping room to extract their remnant. Not only that, but if they found out about Agony by this point, this would be one of the most pure remnant collections ever, because this is admittedly one of the least agonizing deaths in this franchise. It hurts and it's scary, don't get me wrong, but they're knocked unconscious and then killed, essentially dying in their sleep. Cherry on top is the name of this bot itself, the reagent. In context, that makes no sense. In chemistry, a reagent is a substance that is added to a system of substances to induce a chemical reaction. And if this is truly to prep people for remnant collection, maybe whatever this chemical is not only knocks someone out, but preps their body to produce a lot more remnant. It's doing a chemical reaction to the human body. This is Gregory's job while he's under the control of Glitchtrap. Vanny is the one extracting the remnant, injecting it into burn trap or whatever they do with it, and making sure nobody gets caught by adjusting the security logs and handling the police. Meanwhile, Gregory's job is to target or create a lonely child, either by finding one naturally or making sure a birthday party goes wrong. Then he gains their trust and brings them to the Pizzaplex after hours, wearing down that fight or flight with these pranks, making sure that if they ever think they're truly in danger, they'll think it might be one of Gregory's pranks and they won't be as on guard. And once he's manipulated them enough, he sicks the reagent after them, knocks them unconscious, and brings them to the scooper. So then, why doesn't this work on Cassie? Well, that's because I lied about Cassie. She's not a perfectly normal child. She's also a savant with technology and programming, and she has an intimate knowledge of the Pizzaplex and its locations because her father worked at the place. With that knowledge and her coding experience, she is able to outmaneuver and outwit Gregory at every turn. And that's why she's still there for Ruin. But then, I hear you. Like people have said, if Cassie knows that Gregory sent the reagent, something that would kill her after her, and adjusted all this programming to make Roxy attack her, why would she ever go back for Ruin to save him? Well, I've got two reasons for this, and one is speculative, and one has hard evidence behind it. The speculative one is I still think after Escape the Pizzaplex and before Security Breach, Cassie is the one who finds the Balloon World arcade machine in the daycare loft and beats it to free Gregory. And if she learns about Glitchtrap's control of Gregory, then she would most likely forgive a lot of what he's done. He was literally mind controlled. But that's speculation. Here's some hard evidence. The only ending in where it's implied that she at all finds out that Gregory was behind the reagent isn't canon. And I'm confident in saying that because that ending you need to give Roxy the Monty clause, in which Roxy says she likes them so much she's going to keep them. But of course in Security Breach, Roxy has the eyes upgrade and Monty has his claws. So either they're taken away from her forcibly, or this is the book telling us that this isn't the canon ending. Not to mention, the only way to access this is by taking an item from a different ending and restarting with it. Meaning, in the timeline, Cassie never had the item she needed to get the claws in the first place. So to Cassie, she doesn't know Gregory sent the reagent after her, the only legitimately dangerous thing in the Pizzaplex, the thing that Gregory warned her about. And as far as the programming goes, because they thwarted it, she doesn't know that that programming would have killed her. She'd be dead if she found that out. So to her, it's just another mean prank that Gregory pulled. And yes, would a bunch of mean pranks that scared the hell out of you make you not like someone that much? I agree. I would also be pretty mad. But if a friend who's pranked me repeatedly and scared the hell out of me and been generally pretty mean to me suddenly emailed me or texted me or called me and said, "Hey, I've been trapped underneath the Pizzaplex, and I know you have the wherewithal to find me. Please help," I'm gonna answer that call. But like I said, this is just the surface of the lore in these books. I didn't even have time to get into what it tells us about Cassie's dad, or the way that the upgrades worked and who might have gotten them in the first place, or the fact that twice in this book, Gregory uses an elevator to kill Cassie. Doesn't that sound familiar? But those will be saved for future theories. Probably 2 weeks from now, because I'm definitely going to be making a video about the FNAF 2 trailer we just got. But in the meantime, I just put out a video covering a demo of Five Newfangled Nights, a new 2D art FNAF game with a really cool art style that I had a lot of fun playing. You can check that out right here. If you want your fan art featured on the channel, make sure to share it with hashtag Toastart. A huge thank you to the best channel members, the Dough Risers, and until next time, as always, stay toasty slices.